Welcome, it's the Close the Deal Show. I'm your host, Terrence McCray, formerly incarcerated. Every week we bring you business information, tips, and insights from entrepreneurs, business professionals, and inspired individuals from the San Francisco Bay Area and beyond. The Close the Deal Show also features public announcements, Entrepreneur Week, and small businesses. And if you're looking for strategies to help you in business or educate the public, then you're in the right place. Thank you for joining us today. Today, we have a guest on the show, Mr. Dan Everstz, who's going to talk not just to the youth and not just to parents, but to the American people about something that everyone who is trying and who is working hard to become successful in this world, the next step they need to take once they graduate from high school or while they're still in high school, and that is college planning. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Close the Deal Show, Mr. Dan Everstz.
All right, thank you for having me. Appreciate
Absolutely.
it. All right.
Absolutely. So let's get right to it.
Great.
I need to ask you something that struck me. You wrote this book called 20 Stupid Mistakes Parents Make When Applying for College Funding.
Yes.
This is a very wonderful book. How did this get started?
Well, you know, I'm a coach, and he actually had a class that said you can write a book in one day. And I didn't believe it, so I took the class, and lo and behold, I was through with most of the book. Started on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m., I was done by 5. But all of this stuff was already in my head, and I sort of had, kind of mapped it out before. So I just needed somebody to help me complete the deal, like your show, Close the Deal, which is what I did. So I went forward with it, got it done, changed the name, the title. I went to a publisher, and they said I was going to write 20 common mistakes. And he said, no, why don't you change 20 common mistakes to 20 stupid mistakes, because no one wants to be stupid. So that's not intending to insult anybody, but no one wants to be that. And we thought we'd get a little more attention with that.
What is the meaning of educational planning?
What it means is it means to really, if you've got kids that plan on attending college, then you have to start early. And educational planning means, basically, from my perspective, it means really how to pay for college. So you're trying to figure out how to actually apply it to right schools are going to give you money. So it's a whole broad of things, how to get the right career, how to do research on your major, and then take a look at the schools. Because you know what good does it do to take a look at schools first if you can't afford it? So we want to make sure that every family understands the process, because a lot of schools can give you a lot of money.
In your book, you talk about expected family contribution.
Right.
What does this term mean?
This used to be the big secret, EFC. And there are more and more people joining my industry. I got involved with this back in 2005. I had never heard of that before. As a parent who had a kid who was a senior in high school, contribution is the number that the federal government says that the minimum amount of money that your family has to pay to go to college. And it's based on a formula, which is basically income, assets, number of people in your family, and it's a few more things as well, but those are the main things. So they're basing everything on what your financial profile looks like. And this is no time to brag about the big house or anything extra, because you want low numbers, because low numbers get you more money to go to college.
So what would you suggest when a person should start planning for college?
I think it's actually they should start planning as soon as they get home from the hospital when their kid is born, but nobody ever does it. And because college is, other than the purchase of your home, college is the second most expensive thing that any family will do in America. And so again, starting early. Now I'm what's called a late stage college planner, which means that we get them when they're in high school. But in reality, they should have started the process earlier, or at least from the financial point of view. Now, with the student point of view, then when they get to high school, then that's when they really need to bear down and start taking education in their classes seriously.
Then what are some research tools that you provide to help students prepare for financial aid?
Well, we have a new website, collegespire.com, which is going to be geared to affordability because most college planners who are professionals like myself charge anywhere from three, four, five, six, $7,000 to hire him. So we were looking to do something to help everybody. So that's why we started working on this online project, which is launching now. And so that is the number one thing any family can do is go on that site because it does everything. We have about 40 videos on there on how to choose the right career, how to choose the right school, how to choose the right major, which school is going to give you money, which school is not going to give you money. And if you imply, the calculator, the EFC calculator is in there as well. So if you can actually have access to that EFC calculator, then wouldn't you want to know when your kid is in, say, ninth grade or even eighth grade, younger, would you want to know based on your current income what the government says is the minimum amount of money that you're going to have to pay out of pocket? Would you want to know that early?
Absolutely.
Yeah, well, nobody knows that. People don't find that out until their senior year because most people procrastinate. And they wait, oh, it's a senior now, I better start the process. No. If you can get to your numbers early, then you know what you're looking at, and then you can really proactively plan.
So when you say help everyone out, who are you referring to?
Parents, any family that has kids that plan on attending college. And again, it is a joint venture. So parents, one of the mistakes that many parents do is they let the kids take the lead and they don't really pay the attention because they're busy with their work schedules and whatever it may be that they do. But that's a huge mistake. And the reason is because you need to be involved in the entire process. Because if you are and you are on the same page with your kid, I'll tell you, it makes a world of difference.
Could you go back and reiterate and explain a federal formula?
That is the federal formula. The EFC calculator is the federal formula. So what it does is, I'm going to give you an example. Let's say someone is a single parent. Say she's making $40,000 a year. Okay, her expected family contribution, just off the top of my head, is probably going to be about $6,000 or $7,000. But let's use $5,000 as an example. Okay, for the math. So let's assume that the school costs $50,000. Okay, so there's a $45,000 deficit between your EFC number and how much the cost of attendance is at that school. So what parents don't know is that $45,000, every school will cover a different percentage of that $45,000. So which ones do the parents, do we want them to actually apply to? The ones that are going to cover 80, 90, 100% of need.
So what schools, because in sports, they have different levels of schools.
Correct.
So what schools would you consider them allowing that type of process to occur?
Well, of course, all the Ivy League schools cover 100%, but let's be realistic. Only 2% of kids, 2 to 4% of kids are going to get into an Ivy League school.
Okay.
So, but it's probably more of I think USF covers around 67, 68% last time I looked.
Okay.
USC, University of Southern California, covers 100%. UC Berkeley, I think, is around 92%. So again, it's just a matter of putting it into the system. And if somebody needs some help with that, we can help a family figure out what schools. That's part of the process, and that's why we put this all online as well. So you can go right in there and put in say 10 schools onto the calculator, and it will spit you back the 10 schools that you were thinking about applying to, right? And then the ones that don't cover a high percentage of need, what are you supposed to do with those? Kick it to the curb. I look at it differently than most families do because this school stuff is a business, okay? And the way I look at it is if the school isn't going to help a family, why are you going to apply to that school?
Then why do so many people get in debt with school loans?
Because they don't know what they're doing. Really, they're applying at the wrong schools. They're applying for the wrong reasons. My friends are going to go over here to the University of Oregon. As an example, a lot of kids want to go to the University of Oregon. 35% of their population at University of Oregon is from California. So even if you have a low EFC, if you're not a resident of the state of Oregon, they're going to hit you with loans to cover the balance, even though you have a low EFC. That same family, if they were into a school that, say a Chapman University or just a private university, they cover a higher percentage of need than the publics do in many cases. So it just really depends on what you're looking for as a parent. Location. A lot of parents don't like their kids to go too far away, which is a huge mistake. And the reason for that is when you leave the state of California, guess what? They don't have the population that we have here. So many times, if you have a student that's doing well, they may compete for that student. So again, if their numbers are low, I mean, there's a lot of money out there available. I have a kid that I went to her graduation last week, her college graduation. I helped her get into a college. She's out of 7, 8 families. There was a rep from a college called College of Worcester. It's in Worcester, Ohio, right out 45 minutes outside of Cleveland. And they cover 100% of need. And so, again, it just so happens I reached out to them through another parent of mine who had a kid that was going there. And I started doing the research, and I was like, wow, they cover 100% of need. So I called them. They said, well, our representative is in San Francisco Bay Area this week. And I'm like, get out of here. So I called her up. They gave me her cell phone number, called her up, and I said, I have some really good kids. And these kids want to go to college. Some of them are not the greatest students in the world, but they're decent, okay? And so as a result, she actually set up an interview with 6 of my families. And out of the 6, one said, I'm going to fly back there. And they actually paid for her to fly back there. So they took care of everything. She came back, said, that's where I'm going to college. Now, have you ever heard of College of Worcester?
No.
Yeah, most people haven't. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of schools out there like that. Let me give an example. If you have a high achieving student, you want a college that you can go to practically for free. I'll get you guys know what. Okay, the University of Alabama has some. You got to be a pretty talented student to get 32 on the ACT, but if you do, and you have a 3.8 GPA, they have a merit scholarship, which means it's free money from that particular school, and they'll cover just close to a full scholarship at that particular school. See, there's a lot of schools that really want to attract good students. And not to say that every student shouldn't go to college, but the harder that you work and put in the time, there's a reward at the end of the rainbow if you really do.
Okay, so tell me this. Are you eligible to be hired?
I am eligible to be hired, but I'm trying to put everybody on the online system. And the reason for that is we can help more families at an affordable price.
And what is the online system?
That's collegespire.com. That's where we've taken all of my knowledge and we put it into an online system that is going to be able to, any parent can go in there, any student go in there. They have lessons. They have to do A through Z. And it's basically an online coach. Now, in certain situations, there may be where you need assistance. Well, guess where it goes to when you need assistance? It's not in the actual, on the site.
Where does it go to?
It comes to me. So I'm going to be the one helping you as well. The only difference is on that site, it's $25 a month. Now, most families, kids spend that at Starbucks. Okay, and we wanted to make this affordable for families. So $25 a month as an investment every month to help get your kid where you're going to probably get, oh God, if you do this correctly, there's no reason you can't get, say, $10,000 to $30,000, $40,000 of free money. Now, if you're...
And that's going on your site?
Yeah, if you do it correctly, yeah, absolutely.
What do you mean by correctly? Are you saying if you research the right information?
Absolutely. You go in and you follow the course, right? You follow the schools to choose that we're going to provide for you, and you do everything that you're supposed to do in the classroom, then there's tons of money out there. Have you ever heard of the Cal Grant?
No.
Let me tell you what the Cal Grant is. In the state of California, if you're good enough to get into a UC, the state of California is going to give you $13,000 of free money. Just grant from the state of California. The qualifications are for their income qualifications, but I think they run for a single family, it's up to around $70,000. For a family of 4 or 5, you can make up to $105,000 or $110,000.
So what age does that only apply to?
That's for seniors who are applying to college. So if you're applying to college and you fit that criteria in California and you get into a UC, it's $13,000 of free money. If you get into a private college in the state of California, that's $9,000 of free money. If you go to San Francisco State or Cal State East Bay, the CSU system, the Cal Grant will cover the tuition at a CSU. Now, the other kicker to that is you have to have a 3.0 GPA to qualify. So, and I'm talking about an academic 3.0. That doesn't include physical education and a lot of the extra classes that they may have, like art, extracurricular. So again, you have to kind of like really, when you get that report card, it's going to show you, generally it'll show you the Cal Grant GPA, what it is. So let's assume that I had a family last year, came in senior in January, had a 2.9 GPA, totally qualified for it, but they didn't have the GPA. And look, if I had a chance just to talk to the kid, you could have did whatever to get up to a 3.0. They just missed this free money. So they have Cal Grant B, but the money's cut in half of what you normally would get. So again, if you are self-employed and you're not making, you meet the income requirements, free is free. And then if again, you may get some additional scholarships in the UC system. They have more what's called need-based aid. So let's assume you get into UC, any UC, you get 13,000 off the top. Okay, then the cost of attendance at a UC is around 35,000. But you're also probably going to get, depending on what your number is, you're probably going to get another 10, 12, 13, 14 of pure financial aid. And then there'll be a loan of $5,500 that's automatic for the student. Okay? And so again, you don't know that if you're just a parent and you're just trying to go at this, on your own. There's a lot of knowledge that's involved with this. So that's why I wrote the book. They can get the book on Amazon.com. But again, the reason I wrote it was to educate parents, because I hear horror stories of, like you said, families that are in debt. And I'm like, why? And I take a look at it. Why did you apply at this particular school? Well, he wanted to go there. Well, he was eligible for 30,000 at that school over there. That's why the parents need to be involved. Don't let the students choose the school alone. Because, the student works hard, and then all of a sudden it's time to go to college. You look up and you're like, oh, I don't have the money. So what do parents do? There's something called the PLUS loan, parent loan for undergraduate students. So if the difference is, say, 20,000 a year, say your EFC is the number that you need is 20,000 a year, then they send the parents a promissory note to pay us 20,000 a year. So guess what happens if the kid is going to take 5 years, which many kids do? Guess what? That 20,000 a year, you owe $100,000 when your kid graduates from college. That's the parent. That's the parent.
And that's only because they didn't seek out the knowledge.
They didn't understand.
City.
You're going to find some online, and some are very reliable. So at least you'll have an idea, even if they're off, 5 or 10%. At least you will know. So just have your audience Google EFC calculator, and they'll find it for sure.
Well, Dan, I want to thank you not only for coming on the show, but I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and knowledge.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Before we close this deal, I want everyone to know to contact Micro Easy Vocational Institute at 510-262-9949. Micro Easy Vocational Institute, 510-262-9949. You can go to their website at www.microeasy.com. They are providing free computer training here in San Francisco as well as in the Bay Area. They have a location in Hayward, Richmond, as well as in San Jose. So remember that. If you have suggestions, questions, or even want to apply to be a guest, visit us at www.theclosethedealshow.com. San Francisco Bay Area viewers, you can find us every Monday night at 8:30 on cable Comcast, channel 29, or you can go online at 29.sfc.tv. Worldwide, you can find the Close the Deal Show on YouTube. Just click my name, Terrence McCray, as well as my picture. Please subscribe, like, and comment on your favorite episode. Take good care, everyone, and don't forget, find the right connection and close the deal.
All right.